7 reasons why most property investors fail. Over the last 5 years since Adrian and I have been doing this, we have collated all the reasons why most investors fail. And we've put it in a podcast today to say, hey, if you are listening to this, you want to listen up because you don't want to do these mistakes.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
We've seen some of our clients, a majority of them are going to do extremely well over the next 5 to 10 years. There are a few that aren't going to do that well, I should say, because they just don't have the mindset, but that as well, they incorporate 7 of these reasons. And I think it's very, very important to talk about these today because 1, you can succeed, or 2, you can be working for the ATO. You know what I mean? You can be working for the ATO, you're paying taxes, you're not getting ahead, you're just, you're going through the merry-go-round, and it happens every single day. The majority of people are stuck in that trap.
I would like to, with this particular episode, and this is not going to be rah-rah mindset shit. This is not got to get the mindset right. This is like practical stuff and actual things that we see for now helping over 700 clients, and obviously ourselves as well. I would like to incorporate what's called inverted thinking, which is something that Charlie Munger used to talk about, late Charlie Munger of...
Rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. the things that you don't do and the things that you don't look for, kind of essentially swipe it. So rather than saying, how do I become really successful as a property investor? It's kind of hard to think for, possibilities. You actually flip it and go, how do I completely fuck up property investing? These are the 7 reasons that we're going to go into now. So let's rock and roll. Let's get into number 1. I'm excited for this.
Number 1, there's no I in team. Okay. Too many investors try to get into investing, and what they try to do it all themselves. They do everything themselves. It's like, mate, Charlie Munger didn't do it by himself. All Robert Kiyosaki didn't do it by himself. Yep. They all had a team. And so they go through the motions and try to, skimp out on using other people's services. I see some clients come in, they want to do the trust setup themselves. They don't want to go to an accountant. I see some people that, they just try to do everything themselves. Some people actually want to try and manage the property themselves. And it's like, you haven't even got an investment property and you want to try and manage the property. You've never done it before. What are you going to be able to do? What, you want to skimp out on some fees because these are the services that, hey, manage it yourself. There's these new programs.
Yeah.
And it's like, mate, what are you doing? It's like you're not going to get ahead by using that mentality.
And I don't think so. Just to preface it with this one thing, we're not coming at this, or at least I'm not coming at this, and you're not, from a place of judgment, because we actually skimped it out at ourselves when we first started.
100%.
So we're saying this from a place of take our learnings. I bought my first 3 investment properties by myself. They all fucked up, right? But that was before even the property management stuff. Like if we have someone who's coming to us and becoming a client, they've at least taken that first step and say, hey, I need someone to do the research at least. But then it goes into different layers of like setting up a trust themselves or setting up finances. But absolutely, I think that is 100% unique. And are you going to go through what that Rockstar team would look like, or what your Rockstar team looks like?
Yeah, but you can definitely, if you want to touch on it while you're there.
Yeah, cool. I think definitely having a broker over a bank. I see a lot of our clients go through banks, and you're just not going to, unless it's a bank manager and you're a really, really, really big client with, millions of bucks in cash, and there's a bank manager who just helps yourself, you're always generally better off going to a broker who specialise. That'd be the first thing. Australia-wide conveyancer, a gun. We work with Australia-wide conveyancer. They are guns. They know all the different state laws. Every law is different. Don't think your conveyancer in Victoria is going to be a gun in Queensland. It's completely different laws. So Australia-wide conveyancer, property savvy accountant. Again, guys, I don't say this from a place of judgment. I say this from a place of we bought, 750 properties combined between us two, and we've worked through 100 brokers, maybe 50 accountants, 50 conveyancers, right? We've gone through the shit of not having great people around us. But that, an accountant, PMs, great PMs, the best PMs in each region. Property manager, excuse me. Yeah. And then, again, we might sound biased. I don't give a shit you work with us or someone else. Having a buyer's agent. You have to have a buyer's agent if you want to treat property like a professional. Those are the top 5.
Yep.
There's a few others, building and pests and, electric, but
Yeah,
like trades and whatnot. But I think those are your 5 people.
Yeah.
You can skim it out. You can go cheap. Let's be honest.
Don't go cheap. There's people that try to go cheap on a pest and building, or even skimp out on the pest and building, or not get the extra inspections like the plumbing, electrical, compliance checks, and next thing you know, their backdoors in the rear. I will say the younger generation are probably better at being more open-minded to
Correct.
having a team.
Yep.
The older generation, it's hard. It's hard work sometimes. So
That's fine.
But-
That's fine. That's number one.
that's number one. Number two, they plan to fail. Okay.
Mm.
It's so interesting how, people go out there, try to do it all themselves, no plan, no nothing. Let's just go and let's just buy property. They don't succeed. 75% of Australian investors only have one. If you got two properties, I think you're like in the top 20%. And if you got three, you're like top 5% of investors.
And then four, we just did a session on it before. What was the number four? I think it's 4% or 1% of investors have four or more properties.
No, I think it's like be 1% or less.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something crazy.
It's something crazy. What's so crazy is that people go out there and they just start investing in property.
Yes.
When you play a sport, under 10s football, okay?
Auskick. You were good at Auskick.
Let's say under 10s footy, you go out there, what happens? A coach has a plan. You go out, you run out, you play the game, there's a plan in place. How can people go out there and invest? And there's not even a plan for a financial decision that is literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars invested in. They just take the gamble and go, we're just going to go do it in our own backyard, or we're just going to buy this and hope for the best. There's no plan at all. So I say two as plan to fail because literally people are just planning to fail.
Yeah, I actually like to use the analogy of, and again, this doesn't come from a place of judgment. Frank and I fucked up our first three purchases, right? Or be first three, you first couple, right? Doesn't come from a place of judgment. It comes from a place of you don't have to make the same mistakes as us. I actually, rather than the football, I always use the analogy of, and if you're a client and you're listening to this, you're probably going to laugh because I probably did say this to you. Are you married? Yes. If the answer is yes. Did you plan your wedding? Yes. Did your wedding go to plan? And was it all perfect? Yes. Imagine you just rocked up on wedding day and you're just like, let's fucking, it'll be a shambles. It's the same thing with property. If you're not planning already your second and then your third purchase and your fourth purchase, your fifth purchase, you're fucked. So don't make the same mistake that we made. Don't make the same mistake that honestly a lot of our clients make. If a lot of our clients hadn't gone and bought this asset in this entity or, we've got clients coming on board every single week that have got wrong assets. It's not serving them. It's not moving them to their next purchase. And they're not coming to us with a clean slate. It's so much to unravel. You might have to sell. You might you don't want to move properties over into different entities. So not planning and not actually having, and when I say planning, what is it, right? It's having your broker and your accountant on the same page. It's having an idea of what the assets need to be in order for you to continue purchasing. It's understanding when you're going to be purchasing the assets. It's all the shit that I shouldn't say shit. It's all the stuff that you and, Anu build out. But I'd love for you to kind of give just some key tips for these guys to go, okay, how can I go about planning? Some practical stuff if possible.
So if you're going to speak to your accountant and broker, you probably want to get them in the room and just understand, do you go down a trust lending? Of course, there's new rules that everyone's hearing out, freaking out about. You can't buy in the trust anymore. That's not the case. But should you go into the trust lending or not? And then understanding your borrowing capacity and then planning or saying, if I'm going to buy X amount, a property at say 500 grand with a 4.5%, 5% rental yield, what's that look like for property number two? Can I do the same? And reverse engineer it with your broker. Your goal, whatever that goal is, you reverse engineer it. And it's planning how many properties you need. Okay, and maybe going down the house route might be for you. Maybe going down the unit path. Maybe going down commercial down the track. It's like how we plan to do that. Now, the planning side of things is quite difficult. I think we've done a podcast in the past with Anu, which is probably in the past maybe 63, 64 maybe episodes. So, which was talking about super, but even personal names. So, if you listen to that with Anu, he will kind of touch on that. But put that plan in place. Once you understand what purchase you got to go out there for, you start to go and source for that property. You buy that property. Once you buy that property, of course, there's still planning in place for pest and building, making sure you got the right clauses in place, making sure then you do another pre-inspection before you settle, making sure you get the right team on your place, like a property manager, get the right tenant in place. If it hasn't got a tenant, if it's already got a tenant, fantastic. Make sure you move on. And then from there, every 6 months, you should be revaluing your property portfolio. Yep. Checking your position. Have you got enough equity? Number one. Number two, can you lower your interest rates? Can you go to another bank? Can you just ask for a rate review? And then three, repeat. Go get another property. Pretty simple.
Okay, so it's you're kind of mixing the two, which is awesome. So it's a planning plus constant reviewing of the portfolio, which not a lot of people do, which is the reason why a lot of people are not property tycoons.
I've got so many clients that come on board. They've had a property for 5, 10 years and have never taken equity out of the property. And the property's done really well. And it's like, They're just like, oh yeah, we wanted, we watched your videos, we were looking to get into investing. We said let's reach out, and it's like they got like probably lucky, but they've done so well, but you've missed out all those years of capturing more growth, and it happens all the time because people just don't know.
And that's fine. And that's fine. This is all the whole reason around a team, right?
Yep.
We signed up a client. I don't like that word. Signed up a client. That's not a nice thing. We brought a client into the Fresh Start family a few weeks back, and they had a property for 2 years in Geelong, in Karaya, and they hadn't claimed depreciation on the asset for a couple of years. Again, this just all comes back to more the first point of team, having a team who's like organises your depreciation on the day of settlement. But anyway, all right, that's number 2. Don't plan. Pretty stupid.
Yeah, plan to fail.
Plan to fail. You haven't got a business plan. I mean, you're probably going to fail. You don't plan your wedding. It's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
What's the third one?
Number 3, put a dollar value on everything. So many people will come into investing in property and everything is at a dollar value. So if it's not off the value of how good's that service or how good will they look after that property. For example, a property manager. I get so many clients come on board and they go, hey, awesome, let's recommend us to a property manager. We do. And sometimes the property manager we recommend, they might have a higher fee.
Okay.
Higher fee for a reason. Maybe it's a better service. Maybe, you go to a cheaper one, there's a cheaper fee for a reason. Maybe they don't do enough inspections or 2 routine inspections. Maybe they don't give you a rental appraisal every year to see if you can increase your rent. Maybe they're not checking your property to the right status. And, what happens is you get these constant, maintenance bills that you have to stack up because you're not doing enough reviews on the property. Whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be just property management, but everything. They put a dollar value on everything. And it's not about what that person is going to offer that's going to be a better service. For example, maintenance. How many times you can get a good quality plumber, electrician, carpenter, whatever it is to go out there and do the property, and then they get the works done from someone that's a handyman. Let's get a handyman because it's going to be cheaper. They go out there, do the work, and then they have to go do it again because they fucked up and they're not qualified.
Yep.
So in investor's mindset, you have to have an understanding that you are going to, of course, potentially spend money on things and lose money or whatever the word you want to look at it as. I look at it as whatever money you put into it, it's an investment. But don't look at it as a negative because it's actually going to be a positive in the outcome if you do it correctly.
Yep. I think, it's actually a really good point because there's so like when you get into property investing, from a GDP point of view, like think about how many jobs and different people you are actually employing just for one purchase, right? You've got the broker. You've got, who doesn't take a fee, so they may be excluded from this one, right? But you've got the conveyancer. You've got the property manager. You've got the building and pest inspector. You've got an electrical inspector. You've got
Trades, plumbers.
You've got potentially a buyer's agent. You've got your accountant. You've got, I've just listed 7, right?
There's a smoke alarm person that's to go in every year. There's so many.
A shitload of people, right? And this is just an overall mindset. I can't really think of clients of ours, and we'll just use our clients, that have been the tightest ass and just tried to look for the cheapest. And those have been the most successful. Purely from 700 is a pretty good sample size now, right? We've helped a lot of clients, right? Coming up to 1,000 different investors. The best investors, I'd put us in those best investors as well. Whether something's 1,800 or 1,400, it's not really a big deal. Some people 100%. Look at it and go, fucking nightmare. And I honestly, there's one client that stands out who is like that. He's a killer investor, right? Jamie, I'm talking about. He's on every single dollar, but he's an epic investor, mainly because he's got another trade. I don't know if you're going to touch on it, but he's super active, right? But for the most people who are super tight with every single thing, what happens? What does that actually relate to? Well, they might go cheap, yeah. What happens when something bursts? When a hot water service bursts and they got to spend $2,000? That's it. I'm done with investing. And they stop. So when you're cheap, like that carries on to different areas. You're not just talking about go cheap here, go cheap here. When something happens, if you can't raise the rent by $10 and you only get $5, that plays in your mind. You're that conservative way, and bang, you stop investing. So yeah, I just find that as a trait, being cheap and always looking for the cheapest option. In my opinion, you're not going to go out and build a $15, $20 million property portfolio, right? The chances are pretty low.
If you live in a scarce mindset, so your mind's always scarce of, I can't lose money. I don't want to lose money. I got to save money. I can't spend money because I got to, I got to put it towards, whatever it is and put it in my bank account and save for a rainy day. How are you going to make money if you're not having the mindset, oh, I need to make money? And
Really
the way
good
of
point.
making money is actually using the money to make more money.
Yeah, I
if
like
you
that.
keep the money, you can't spend it and you can't make more money. So the mindset you need to have is not scarcity. It's like
Abundance.
Abundance.
Yep.
If you have an abundance mindset, it works so much more in your favor. And you don't look at things as, oh, it's going to cost me, this, and it's cost me that. Oh, I've had enough. Nah, this is not for me. You're getting into a business. Called property investing. It's a business. It's not a hobby. It's not, you don't do it because it's recreational. You do it because it's going to give you financial freedom.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so with that becomes, there is going to be ups and downs. Like any other business, if it was, you go start a cafe, there's going to be issues there, if not more issues than property. So whatever you get yourself into, just understand that don't put a dollar value on everything.
I like that. I really like that. And again, don't take that from a place of judgment. Don't look at Frank and I and go, oh, you guys are business owners. You don't know what it's like. And we were there.
Yeah.
We were there. We literally copped it. When I had tenants living in my property in Faulkner and they didn't pay for 6 months and I lost fucking $50,000, I wasn't there fucking worried. That's all right. Let's keep moving. Let's just keep it rolling. That would have stopped a lot of these cheap people, let's say. Let's move. Number 4.
Number 4, their mindsets fails before the investment. Now, this is with a mindset because I see clients that come on board and the team will like flag them and be like, hey, I think this person may be a bit of a problem.
Yep.
And once again, it happens because it's not their fault, but they just haven't got the mindset. Their mindset is they come into it and they can be a bit, wanting to direct everything and wanting to take control of everything when they haven't even got an investment property. So their mindset is already, they're not going to win. You're not going to win because you need to be open-minded in a sense, but you got to trust people and you got to learn that and understand you're not the smartest person on the planet. If you were, you wouldn't be coming to us to buy a property because you probably have a killer business making more money than us or doing, the same as us and getting ahead because you financially, know how to generate an income.
Yep. Or financially, you know how to go about building a portfolio, which is not that every client of ours doesn't know how to do that, but there's reasons why. Hence, yeah, okay.
And that's one part. And then there's another part. There's the resilience of understanding how things happen. There's going to be things that, like, the last one, there's going to be things that happen. The resilience of if a hot water surface bursts or if something happens financially, can you mentally go through that and not
shit yourself,
but not as well not let it get to you. There's going to be so many stressful times in property. You a tenant. You can have you had a property, you had a tenant come in play into your property and got on the ice and put holes through the property, destroy the property, didn't get rent for 6 months. You had to fix the property through insurance. I think some of it, they didn't even cover all of it. So you had to fix it yourself as well. So there's tens of thousands of dollars there.
Tens of thousands.
There was a new bathroom, new kitchen reno. You had to do new flooring. Like, it was just ridiculous.
Made the most of it though.
Yeah, made the most of it. But you didn't, you had to go through that resilience. And ever since then, it hasn't happened to you.
No. Touch
you've
wood.
and you've
done a
learned
bit
from
of research. That's why.
Yeah.
On the assets that we're buying and the tenants that we're bringing.
So the mindset, I think, with this is learn about what you're getting yourself into. So many investors come to us, they actually don't understand what they're getting themselves into. They don't read books. They don't read, understanding about what it takes to be an investor. Everyone always says it. It's cliche and it sounds shit and it sounds boring. It's like, tell me something new, but it's mindset. It's like, you get your mindset ready before you invest. If you don't get that ready, you're going to fail. Don't worry how good the investment is. You can buy the best property on the planet, and that property do really well. But if you've got a shit mindset, you're probably going to sell that property or say, this is too hard, I'm getting rid of it, or this is not, this is not for me, and you just haven't built that resiliency.
I spoke about this at our seminar. I think I did a whole piece on it. It was like a 10-minute piece. I'm not going to talk for 10 minutes here. But there was a client of ours that purchased a property. Every 6 months, we revalue the asset. We sent a message to the client, and it was Ryan's client, I remember. And the property grew by like 24% in 6 months, right? It's like on track to do 40, 50% in the year, right? I remember the message. I remember it vividly because I jumped on the phone with Ryan straight after it. We're like, hey, well done. You bought the property. It's grown by 100 grand in 6 months. And he goes, hey, guys, this is great. Next message. I've just had a hot water service that's broken. Things are very bad. And I just went, what the fuck? He hasn't bought another property. So think about, like, when you say mindset, yeah, again, it all sounds not wankery, but like, oh, woohoo, mindset. But the actual real, what it actually results in is like, you haven't got that on, or you don't understand what you're getting into, or you haven't got that resilience that you mentioned. it actually stops you from moving on. This guy should have bought another 2 more properties. Properties are on 50, 60% in like 18 months. So you don't get that switched on, you'll end up stopped. You'll end up stuck. So yeah, very, 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 and I think you and I are very blessed with to have this mindset, and a lot of our clients, vast majority of our clients, let's be honest, have this mindset. Easy come, easy go. Asset grows by 100 grand, something pops up, cool. That's all right. That's
How
cool.
did you go about? Because you probably weren't always like that. How did you go about developing that mindset? Do you recall?
Nah, like it. Well, I'm going to say, I did some mindset course, and sat in a room for 12 hours and fucking meditated. No, like I didn't. What is it? It's like, it's just money. Like at the end of that, that's the way I look at it.
There has to be a way you. Because I know personally, I wasn't like that.
Yeah,
but I
no.
had to change that.
Yeah,
But
well,
do you
you come
remember?
from-
Do you remember how you changed that way of thinking?
No, I just.
Was there people? Was there influence? Was there a book you read?
I mean, yes, okay. So you're trying to touch on specifically that. Yeah, sure, okay. How many books did we read? How many seminars did you and I go to? How many, yes, okay, absolutely. We probably do come from scarce, family.
Definitely.
We
Definitely
both
do.
our parents never bought investment property, so I can't say that we were, born with it and we were these property tycoons. We just fucked up. I couldn't point it on one particular thing. I think it was just Anthony and I, my brother and I, just wanted to be extremely wealthy with property, and we fucked up the first 3-4 times. When that happened, we went, oh, fuck, that's probably not good. And then you and I just took it to another level by really educating ourselves. But yeah, I wouldn't say that, we specifically went there to work on our mindset.
What about, for example, you look up to someone, like let's say someone like a mentor, someone online, someone that you read a book on, or you've listened to their podcast. What about seeing the way they approach life? Do you then say, okay, I'm going to incorporate some of these way of thinking or that these people do?
I mean, honestly, not to go too deep into this, but honestly, the biggest lessons that have shaped me are the things that have been the worst times in my life. So horrible breakup. I remember when you and I, we went to and this is kind of unrelated, but also related. We went to a men's type retreat. We were a part of a men's retreat for a year. We got around a lot of people then at 24, 25 years old. That shaped me quite a bit, if I'm honest. That was something where I saw, okay, well, this is what real wealth is. There was a lot of wealthy people there, but they were quite miserable in their life. There was things like, the Faulkner property. That shaped me. That's a thing where I'm like, fuck, I'm so happy we went through that. Because we lost a lot of money. I had to learn the resilience. The time in our business, we're losing $60,000 a month. I'm just listing off really the bad things that have happened. I should say bad things. There's people starving in the world. That's not really that bad. But shit that has gone really, really bad, I think those are the things that maybe have shaped me personally. I can't say that, there was like one person or one particular day where I'm like, and that's the mindset, but it's just an accumulation, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
Anything for you?
I think I just looked at Robert Kiyosaki or Tony Robbins, all these people that idolize, read books, listen to their podcasts religiously, and then I seen the way they acted as well, especially Robert Kiyosaki. He has that approach. It's like, who gives a fuck? Just move on. Let's keep going. Like look at the the opportunity, the future gains of what that property is going to do, and don't let that bog you down. So I used to read all those books, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do what these guys do.
That's it.
So that's what I think. And then all the things that you mentioned, the men's retreat and all that sort of stuff. Like of course, you used to see guys that were broken that had a lot of money, about to go through a divorce or vice versa, had no money, and the relationship was doing well, and you're like, you don't want to be in those positions, so you just do the opposite of what these people are doing. But yeah, you just incorporate it. So for people listening, I think if you just follow a guy that you mentor that's successful,
It's pretty
listen
simple.
to what they do and say, and just follow it religiously, and I guarantee you're going to actually end up on top.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, we're not saying anything new, but people have paved the way. People have paved the way in the buyer's agency space. Have a look at us now. We listen. Every meeting we go to, every buyer's agent we meet, every big person that we're just the best listeners. I think we just listen. So maybe that's a trait. But all right, that's a good one. That's number 4. Number 5.
Number 5, closed-minded.
Ooh.
So I can't beat it enough that people come to us. They go, once again, I don't want to beat on our clients, but it's just these are some of the people that just won't get ahead because they look at, like, we invest in a lot of regional towns.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just one part of it, and I'll list a few things. Like, they don't look at the regional towns as a high growth location. They're not going to perform. There's no open mind to change that way of thinking. A lot of our parents are like that.
Yep.
You know, I remember we were starting out and they're like, oh, you know, why are you buying this shit all? What the hell are you doing there? Buy in a capital city, or, you know, buy close to the CBD.
That's okay.
It's the only way you're going to grow. You grow your portfolio. You need to go there. You got to see it. You got to drive around the corner and see what the tenants are doing. You can't even go in the property if you got a property around the corner anyway, because the laws won't allow you to go sit into the
Correct.
property anyway. So it's just being open-minded that you don't know everything, and you need to learn from other people that have those resources to say, hey, okay, you know, don't listen to the people at the barbecue. Don't listen to my mum or dad or people that haven't got the things that I want. You know, if your parents are telling you don't buy in a regional town, then you got to question that. If they haven't got any properties, you got to question that.
Yep.
And it's just with everything that relates to property, you got to do the same thing, or whatever it is in life in general. You just can't be listening to someone if you're, I don't know, you're getting advice from one of your family members about, you know, marriage and they've been divorced 3 times, or are you going to really listen to them? Maybe they might learn a thing or two because they've got divorced 3 times, but you can learn something from that. But as well, you want to learn from someone who's been in a relationship for 50 years and they've got a
Happily
flourishing,
married,
happily married.
I will, again, and I'm going to say this for the 5th time here, but I've actually got an example with this. This definitely does not come from a place of judgment, right? So we're not saying this, and I'll use the buyer event that we just went to, right? We are taking our own we're taking our own advice here. So we spoke with a gentleman. I actually spoke with him on Monday. He's got 300 properties, right? He is a buyer's agent. He's been in this space for 15 years, right? Not for a second do you and I think that we know everything in this space, right? Both got coming up to 10 properties, right? We're doing okay. We do all right, right?
Yeah.
This gentleman's got 300 properties. We sat with him. I had an hour session with him on Monday. We are implementing his particular strategy because, hey, guess what? He knows a lot more than us. So not for a second think that we are closed-minded in this particular field or that our strategy is the only strategy that works. Long and behold, there's a unit strategy that's been kicked off. Why? Because it works and we are open-minded and we're not closed-minded to think Fresh Start knows it the best and we are open-minded to that. And I think that's a very, very important principle. It's the reason why we've built up the business that we have. It's the reason we've been in business 5 years. It's the reason we're coming up to, 1,000 clients helped within a 5 to 6 year period. It's because we are open-minded. We've dealt with coaches. We've been open to investing in ourselves. We've been open to listening to other people in our space, listening to their strategy and not going, oh, they're a fuckwit, don't listen to them. Absolutely not. Completely opposite. So I think that's a very, very important piece. Even our strategy. If a client came to us and said, how about if we did X, Y, and Z and did da-da-da, we would not go, no, you have to do our strategy.
100%.
So that's an important one. I like that.
I'm not sure if you've seen the post recently. The one I made of the unit strategy, the property I was looking at the purchase.
Yes, yeah, I did. Yep.
Eddie Deline, who's a pretty big
Yes,
buyer's
yeah,
agent.
yeah.
I'm not sure. I think he's got over 100 properties or something like that as well. He commented, he goes, oh, you guys are getting into unit strategy. Good on you. And he gave us like the thumbs up.
Love it.
And I was like, that's awesome. And it's like, yeah, because we are changing the way we're thinking and we're like, okay, we've got to improve. And like you said, you don't know everything. And so
Absolutely
you need
not.
to, you just need to look at things a little bit differently and be open-minded with everything you do. Everything you do. If you I'll listen to someone, and if I don't agree with them, I'll still listen to them, and I'll be like, okay, maybe I can learn something from them. And there'll be times you be a little bit combative, or you have a discussion. That's okay, but it's part of not being arrogant and thinking like, oh, no, those people are idiots, or they don't know what they're on about.
Yep.
I think you find value in someone like I'm not saying tooting our own horn, but people slander us and be like, oh, you guys contradict, or you're changing your strategy, or doing all these things and having a go at us. It's like, well, no, we're not. We're learning, and no one knows it all. You know, how many people we've spoken to in this space that have more properties than us, probably got bigger businesses than us, and sometimes they're guessing and they don't even know what they're doing. And everyone is. So at the same time, if the ones that are innovating, learning, and growing, and being open-minded, they're the ones that are going to do quite well in the future. And I always believe in that.
Yeah.
You can't do the same thing every single day, because eventually it will run out, and you'll need to do something new, and you have to be open-minded to innovate. Look at Blockbuster. Blockbuster didn't think they were going to go out of business. Netflix went up to them and said, hey, do you want to buy our business? Said no. Now look at Netflix.
Yeah. And when this is not even necessarily a business perspective, I think this is in every aspect, in property, in business, in every walk of life. In fitness, you can change up your goals or change up the way that you're doing things. Just be open-minded. I like it. All right, let's keep rolling.
Number 6, you need to become more resourceful. Okay, it's not the reason why you haven't got what you want because you haven't got the resources.
There's a lot of resources.
Because you have to get more resourceful. I learned this from Tony Robbins, and it was so interesting. It's like people like saying, oh, I haven't got this, or I haven't got the program, I haven't got the research, I haven't got the data, I don't know what to do, I haven't got the mindset, I haven't got the knowledge, I haven't done the skill, I haven't got the skills, I haven't got the uni. Well, get people on your team that were going to help you get there. We've got a business coach, or not anymore, but we did have multiple business coaches when we started the business. And then after a couple of years after that, they helped us to get us to where we are. And a lot of our success, I'll probably say, comes from a little bit from them as well, because they've helped us and trained us and coached us. People go to a gym, get a coach or a trainer, get some losing weight, they get the abs, they get the six pack, whatever it is. And then of course they get there. Property is the same. You don't know the research, get a research person. Or if you don't have the accountant, you need to get the accountant that's going to, help you. So it's kind of with team at this beginning, but of course I think it's in general life, you need to get more resourceful. Learn, get the other people that are smarter than than what you can't do well.
Yeah, and it's on. I don't even think it's that. I think you're exactly right. There's with the internet now, you can be. I mean, there's too many resources. If we're actually honest, you search up research for property, there's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of things there. I think, and this isn't even about getting a buyer's agent on your team. I think, how many times did you used to call the best researchers in the game to be like, hey, tell me about and just pestering people. Like you have the ability. You can find anyone's contact details. You can contact anyone, right? If you want to become really successful at property, you can drive and fly to these regions to go and check it out, right? If you scrimp for cash and you don't have enough money to pay for a buyer's agency fee or whatever it is, give a phone call. I'd like, and I'm doing no favor to my business here. You know how many people, young kids, 18, 19-year-old kids that have gone through our system, called us and gone, listen, I haven't got the money, but I just wanted to talk to you guys to go X, Y, Z. Fucking awesome. Like, good on you. I'd do the same thing. That's being resourceful. Now, he's got the money, right? But he might have $30,000. He might be able to buy property. Yep. Might be able to learn something from myself or someone else and go, fuck, that's being resourceful. You have the ability to do that. There's so much resources out there. I like this one. And this goes into multiple areas, right? You can be resourceful in not just property. This is 100%.
Well, I've done a post on the weekend. It was like, ask me a question. Had like 30 people reach out. So I think one of the guys is like, hey, I quit my job. I didn't love what I was doing. He goes, I'm in a rut. How do I get out of it? Because he's kind of, listened to our story. Yeah. I was like, awesome, man. I gave him 5 books that helped me. I gave him podcasts to listen to. And then I said, this is a course I done, which was like a $2,000 course. But I'm like, they sell tapes. So you probably get the tapes for like 200 something bucks. I go, this is what done. This is what helped me. And I sent him a voice memo and everything like that. That guy got resourceful. Seen a post. He said, I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to ask this person.
Yeah, I like that.
When I wanted to get into research and understand more about how property works, a guy called Simon Presley, he's in the space. I look at him as like the Michael Jordan of research. I was like, fuck, I need to know how this guy does research and what he done to get to where he started. Man, I reached out to I think it was Mike Morlock. I said, Mike, do you know that, this guy? I've seen him, you heard him on his podcast and you know him. He goes, yeah. He goes, I really look up to him. I go, do you reckon you can put me in contact? He goes, Frank, let me see what I can do. Within 5 minutes, he goes, Frank, Simon's going to call you. Simon called me. I was like shaking. I was like, Simon's called me. I had an hour and a half conversation with him, wrote down all these notes, all these things. He told me advice that was fucking spectacular. And then I just ran with it. And ever since then, I've always done the same. I've always implemented what he's taught me. And I always listen to our other thing, like other podcasts, other shows that he's on. He's been on our podcast before as well. And I just, take notes. I just learn.
Being resourceful. I like it. I really like that one. That's an epic one. Anyone can do it. That's the thing. Anyone can do that. Anyone. You don't have to be... is it easier? Of course it's easier now, right? We've got a brand and, we can go up to a lot more people and say, hey, like, this is who we are. Yes, it is easier now, but it's not always that case. You don't have to always be. Like, you can call anyone. Everyone's email's there. You can go nuts. You can find out the best markets in the country. I mean, there's even research tools out there.
If you don't ask, you don't receive.
That's right. Next one.
Number 7, last one. Materialistic over logic. Ooh. So many people will get into a property. They're like, hey, I'm going to buy this property because it looks good. I'm going to buy this property because it's new versus the old property. And it's like, I'm going to buy this property because it's got depreciation. You don't invest in property because of depreciation, but you invest in it because it's going to grow. And so looking at property, not from an emotional perspective of like what I want to, like what I envision if I was going to live in the property or, hey, it's not in that location because I wouldn't live there. Like, I'm not going to live there. It's like, that's a shithole. Or, or they look at the, the fixtures and fittings and say that's the most important part. No. It's about the property. I always use the ugly duckling syndrome. You want to buy the ugliest property or like not the nicest property in the street. Okay. You want properties that are of course, much more prettier, nicer, so much more potential, if not more higher value, because whatever it may be, the bigger or whatever it is on the characteristic of the property, that means that your property can, work up to that growth point, or that purchase price, I should say. So having that mindset of logic over emotion of materialistic and what it looks like, don't worry about that. Get rid of that and look at the numbers and make sure it's going to make sense.
And this is hard. Like, this is hard. Naturally, we all see houses. Like, we walked in, we're in a different studio. We haven't even mentioned it yet because we're traveling and, on the ground at the moment, looking at a new region that we're currently started investing in. And we walked in this house and said, fuck, this is a nice house. Look at this. It's beautiful. Like, it's got a nice TV. It's got a fireplace here.
So I think it's only a couple of years old as well.
Couple years old. Like, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It does not mean that this is going to perform better than a property that might not look as nice 500 meters down the road. But it's just natural that that's how we are. Every Australian loves property. We all like property. We all live in beautiful properties. So it's just it's a really, really difficult one. A lot of clients get this wrong. I'm not even saying clients. I think just a lot of people get this wrong. It really is an interesting one. I had the chat with the gentleman, the one that's got 300 properties on Monday, and he laughed at me. He goes, he's been around 15 years. This guy's bought thousands of properties, right? Thousands of properties for clients, right? One of the biggest buyers agencies in the space. It's got 300 employees, right? And he goes, oh, do you show your guys the properties? I went, yeah. And he laughed at me. He goes, you show them the properties. You show them the properties. What are you talking about? I said, yeah, we show them the property. And what, they argue about it? He goes, yeah, they argue. He goes, mate, they're all it's retarded. It's stupid. It's the dumbest thing in the world. It's all on numbers. That's it. He goes, I purely look at a house as numbers. This guy's got 300 properties. And outside there, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's crazy, which I'm not suggesting that at all, or he knows what he's doing. He goes, it's assets, it's numbers, and it's a cash flow calculator. That's it. That's what I look at these assets as. Not the way that a lot of people look at assets, right? Which is, that doesn't look there. The brickwork, I don't know about this. And that's all, you're looking at the wrong thing.
100%. We're with Jed as well, one of our buyers agent right now. And we're meeting some of the agents and they're saying, what's some of the, the hurdles that you face? And Jed's like, we get commonly asked about, it's only got one bathroom, should we get a second bathroom and look for another house that's got 2 bathrooms, or 3 bedroom, you reckon it's actually going to grow to, it's a 3 bedroom house, maybe we need 4 bedrooms. Like, no. Don't worry about the bedrooms. Don't worry about the bathrooms. Of course, if you're going for some sort of you're looking for an Airbnb, or I don't know what you're doing, trying to do like one of those short stays that you do, those like rooming house or something like that. Yeah, maybe that makes sense. But if it's just for an investment long term, doesn't matter how many bedrooms it's got, doesn't matter how many kitchens it's got, doesn't matter what it's got, doesn't matter about the picket fence, it matters about the location, the fundamentals, and then if it's going to stack up. 70%
of a property will be determined by the region, because I've got a visual in my head.
You got 70% of the economy.
Yep.
And then I guess the next step comes down to the property data.
Yep.
And then the last bit is the house, which is like 2% is the house.
2% is the house. Gotcha.
2% is the house. We've got actually a pyramid. We'll put it up on the screen if everyone.
There is a pyramid, not a pyramid scheme, but a pyramid.
But yeah, I guess you just got to look at things differently. Like if you look at it, if like for example, Townsville right now, it's grown by like 80% since 2020. The whole market's grown 80%, crazy. Regardless of the shit house down the road versus the beautiful house up the road. Okay, they're both grown.
Yeah,
amazing. Some, if anything, I've actually done research that sometimes the cheaper properties actually grow a little bit more than the more expensive properties at the start of the growth cycle. And that's just because, of course, more of the fish can, push up the price of the cheaper properties than the ones when they get more expensive and interest rates go up, they can't afford to keep pushing up the price. So there's less people to push up those prices. But in saying that, I think just look at things logically, not emotionally. Don't worry about what the door looks like. Don't worry about how many bathrooms, don't worry about kitchens. I'm not saying don't give a fuck at all. Someone like, of course, the gentleman you're speaking about has got 300 something properties. That mindset is something that takes you years to get to as well. Because he's got so many properties. He's not even looking at properties anymore. He's not even inspecting. He's like, yeah, let's just buy it. Bang, see you later.
He made a really good point, and it'll stick with me, and I'll leave the viewers with this. He goes, do you invest in the stock market? I said, yeah. He goes, do you invest in like Coles and stuff like that? I don't in those particular, but like Coles, you use Coles. He goes, cool. When you buy stocks in Coles, do you go out and go visit the Coles? I said, no. He goes, why the fuck is property any different? Just because you live in it. It's a very good point. It's a very, very good point. It is an asset. And the fundamentals of that asset is that it gets you to X. Whether it has 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms doesn't really matter, right? if it's still going to get you to X. So
So it's so true because you know the gentleman you're talking about. I know who he is. I'll tell you a story. I haven't told you a story actually. We met an agent today.
Right.
That he bought 3 properties from him.
right,
And he goes, man, he came to me. He goes, I want to check out these properties. He goes, you know, these properties in a flood zone. And he goes, yeah. He goes, they got flooded in 2022 because there was a flood up here. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, he went out there. He goes, give me the properties. They sold for 100 grand each. They were like units.
Right.
And no insurance. Can't get insurance on the properties. So they've been flooded before. And so he just went in there and bought the properties. And he's like, yeah, mate. And the agent was looking at me. He goes, mate, I don't know. I don't understand this guy. Like, he's telling me he's got X all these properties, 300 something plus properties. And he just went out there and just bought these properties. I was like, mate, he goes, he didn't even look at the properties. He just went and bought them. He just came to talk, have a chat and, talk about business and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, well, he's taking, he knows that property's going to perform. He gets for 100,000. I'm like, what will it rent out for? He goes, probably 270 to 280 a week. So I look at the rental yield. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's a pretty strong rental yield. And he's just got that mindset. He's like, I'm going to make money regardless. Regardless what happens to insurance, I can't get insurance. Don't worry about it. It's 100 grand. That's how he's looking at it.
Now, I want to just preface it with this. We're not asking you guys to think of it like that because let's be honest, a lot of us have not got that resilience to do that. I do not have the ability. I'll say it straight. And let's be honest, we're not at 10 properties. He's at 300.
Yeah.
He's a better investor than us. Call a spade a spade.
100%.
Black and white. Call a spade a spade. He's a better investor.
But there was a stepping stone to get there.
That's right. He's been in the game for 20 years. We've been in the game for 10 years, right? So, yeah, I think we're not saying go buy properties in flood zones, not go get insurance, right? But, right, it goes back to your resilience piece, right? This guy has the resilience to, he goes, mate, I want to get to 10,000 properties. That's his goal, right? Can't be fucking around and thinking, oh, there's a flood. Mate, got to make moves and got to do it quick. So anyway, that's crack. Can we just go over the top 7? Can we finish on that just to summarize what you did touch on?
Let's do it.
It was a good episode. I really like this
1, no I in team. 2, plan to fail.
Bang.
3, put a dollar value on everything. 4, their mindset fails before the investment. 5, not open-minded. 6, need to get more resourceful. And then 7, materialistic over logic.
Bang. 7 crackers. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you do because it came in the middle of the episode. That's a very, very good episode. I really, really enjoyed that one. Tried to not make it fluffy and tried to give you actual logical, things that you guys action can take and utilize. But the best way to do this, just inverted thinking. What does a good investor do? It's kind of hard to answer that. What does a really bad investor do? Just don't do that. And that's it's a lot easier, Great episode. We're in the new potty room, which is 1-time potty or 2-time potty. We did a potty with Jeff.
2-time potty and then it's
back home. Looking forward to the next episode. Thank you for the
See you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.